Welcome to Labor's View. This show is brought to you by the very hardworking and dedicated employees of the Essex County Division of Welfare, the non-supervisory employees, and they are members of CWA Local 1081, our union, and I'm David Weiner, president of the union and host of Labor's View. This evening, it's our pleasure to have as our guest Graciela de la Rosa, without the r, who works for New Jersey Citizen Action, which is an activist statewide group whose board I've co-chaired for many, many years. Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
And let's start with a little personal background for yourself.
I started working for New Jersey Citizen Action in 2007, the very first year that we opened the tax center. Prior to that, I was doing a master's in international studies at Fairleigh Dickinson University. Before that, I am originally from Colombia. I managed a small advertising agency and was in charge of that for over 7 years.
Okay, now you mentioned the tax center. What does that mean?
So at New Jersey Citizen Action, we provide free tax preparation services for low-income New Jersey families. So we've been open since 2007, and over these years, we prepare returns for over 26,000 families, claiming over 40 million in refunds, of which 15 million were made up of state and federal earned income tax credit.
And this is free.
And these are free services to the community. We provide services in English and Spanish.
And where is this, or where are these sites? Is it more than one site or one site?
We do have different sites. Our main site is located at 165 Halsey Street in Newark. We're open Monday through Friday from 9 to 7 p.m. and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. We have a satellite office in the Ironbound section of Newark in partnership with the Ironbound Community Corporation.
Mm-hmm.
We also have another site from our Central Jersey location, which is basically handled by appointment only.
Is that Highland Park?
That is Highland Park,
okay.
Correct. And for the first time, we're expanding our services to Montclair in partnership with Partners for Health and local community groups, where we're going to do some blasts throughout the tax season.
Now, when you say low income, what does that connote, generally speaking?
So it's basically providing services for families or households making $54,000 or less in income. And what we're trying to do is to promote the earned income tax credit. This is a credit for people who work and who earn low to moderate income. And the people who qualify for this credit, they can get a refund, or they can pay less taxes or no taxes at all.
Depending on the income. Was that taken away by the governor or reduced significantly and then I read up to 30%, I forgot what the...
Correct. It was reduced when Governor Christie took office, and now was reestablished. It increased from 20% of the federal earned income tax credit to 30% in the state of New Jersey.
Any reason why you do something nice? I'm just trying to wonder. No, don't answer that. Okay, so there was a grand opening, as there is annually, of the Halsey Street site. And tell me about what happened there.
So our kickoff event was last week. We have many personalities. Assemblywoman Sheila Oliver.
Interesting, politicians as personalities.
Congressman Donald Payne Jr., our friends from the IRS, Marixa Colasso is the territory manager, our executive director, Felicelo Kay, and from the Ironbound Community Corporation, Drew Curtis, and from Partners for Health, our new partner in Montclair, Kathleen Smith.
And what took place at this event, besides pomp and circumstance?
We kick off the season. We just are trying to encourage families to come to the center, have their taxes prepared for free, not to go to pay preparers when they can qualify to get our free services, and also promote the earned income tax credit. So remind people about our schedule and our services. Last year we provided services for about 5,000 families helping them claim about 3.2 million in refunds. So it's a very significant amount of money. Also, we need to remember that 1 out of 5 people in New Jersey don't claim the earned income tax credit. So it's very important for them to go to ask questions. If they qualify, we have a phone number where they can call, they can make appointments, and we are generally able to help them.
Why don't you say the phone number? Jerry will put it up on the screen, but what is the
It's
phone number?
888-829-3711.
Say it one more time.
888-829-3711. 888 taxes 11.
Great, thank you. So what else is going on with the EITC? And
So the earned income tax credit is been around for 40 years.
I think the emphasis should be this is for
Cut.
working people.
Yeah,
How do people qualify? We've already said they're low-income workers, so these are working people, but how do they qualify?
these are working people, and it's also important to emphasize that it's not just for people with children. It's also people with no children who can qualify. There are a lot of rules. In general, family size and income will determine eligibility, but you must have earned income. Earned income meaning wages, salaries. We're not talking about unearned income like interest or dividends or those type of incomes, though that doesn't qualify you for this type of credit. You must have a social security number. You must not file as married, filing separately. And you must
Well, that's important. You can't file as a couple. You have to file individually?
You could file as a couple, filing jointly. You cannot file married, filing separately. There are families who ought to choose this bracket, which is actually the worst one that anyone can file. But for this credit, that doesn't qualify you. So you need
Okay.
to qualify as married, filing jointly, head of household, qualifying widower, single, but no married, filing separately.
Okay, well, that obviously that makes the threshold even comparatively lower, right? Because if you were doing individually, it would be this low, but together you add it together, so. But it
Yeah.
is what it is, that's the rule.
It is, yeah, those are the rules, and we have the tables what tell you how much you will make and how much you will get. The maximum amount of EITC that you could get with 3 or more qualifying children is $6,242.
Dollars.
Dollars.
That's a nice amount
Correct.
of money, yeah.
Correct. So, and people use this money for paying for groceries, helping them with their bills. So it's a significant amount for people who really earn very little or low or moderate income.
And how does Citizen Action get the word out besides this show and its annual grand opening?
Well, we take advantage of our partners. At the tax center, we promoted our services and we gave packets with flyers to people to distribute. We also flyer around in Newark, in the communities surrounding Newark, and we basically get the word out also by the word of mouth. We've been having people coming over to us for 10 years. And the service is fantastic for people because these are qualified tax preparers. We study every year. We pass the laws, the tests that we need to take from the IRS. So it's basically a great quality service.
And who pays for this, for Citizen Action? Do we get grants from somewhere?
We get grants. We have different sponsors. We have the IRS is a sponsor. We have different banks also are a sponsor. It's a big list. I can go on and mention it. It's up to you.
No, I don't like banks that much, especially Wells Fargo. Only because they have the most garish interiors I've ever seen. It's that red and white. And that we belong to. I started with Howard Savings Bank here in Newark 30 years ago, and must be through 5 different iterations of banks, and now it's Wells Fargo. Doesn't matter because my wife's retired, and my money goes directly into the bank, with the paycheck, and so I have no idea what I have. Don't care, and I always say this. It's a terrible line, but I'm like a prostitute. She just leaves me a little amount of cash in an envelope on the mantle every week, and that's it.
That's all you need.
Yeah, that's all I need. So, I come in, I'm interested, what happens? Walk me through it when they come into the office.
So everyone who comes in must bring a photo ID, a social security card, the W-2s, the 1099s, the childcare expenses, or with the agency ID, your 1095 form, excuse me. And we also, so we'll do an intake form. We need to follow certain procedures from the IRS. So it's not just coming in, just give me this. We follow that intake form. We make sure they have their paperwork, and one of the tax preparers start preparing the return. After this is done, then a quality review person goes and double checks that everything is correct.
Citizen action.
Citizen action, correct.
Am I correct in assuming most people coming in don't have everything they need and have to come back another time?
No, that's not correct. Most people will bring everything they have. See, February is our busiest month precisely because of that, because most people haven't received all their W-2s in January, so February becomes the busiest month for us. And but some people do have to return. Many people who forget some paperwork. We need to follow the rules, and we are very strict on that. Our grants depends on that.
So all the information that I asked to allude to earlier in terms of marketing, the information with the partners and the flyers, that all delineates what they need, I assume, therefore. Because they couldn't divine it, they'd have to know somehow.
Yeah, in the flyer we list the paperwork that we're requiring. And but most people, they know what they need to bring. Some people have come these days asking me, I'm missing one of this paperwork. Should I just do it now? Just wait until you have all your paperwork and then come to the office. We also do prior years. So we do for people who haven't filed the prior years. We do prior years as well for the state of New Jersey and federal.
Are they exposed to sanctions for not having filed in a timely fashion?
Who is exposed to sanctions?
The people that you're doing for, the person you're doing the EITC for, if they hadn't paid their taxes in prior years, you're saying you're going back to years that they hadn't paid.
Well, in these cases...
Don't mention any names, just...
No, I can't.
I know.
No, in these cases, they could qualify, but they're going to have penalties if they haven't filed prior years.
I would think so,
So, yeah, so we will need to look at an individual case. It's just very hard to just talk in general, but we will bring them back to the current year and see what credits they could get. It's not just the earned income tax credit, there is the child tax credit. So
you're doing their taxes for them, so
correct.
Everything that's applicable beyond the EITC is included, I assume.
Correct.
Okay. So I go through all of this and sign a bunch of papers, I assume?
Sign your paperwork. Once it's reviewed, then you are responsible for the information that you give us, and sign the
Meaning
paperwork.
you better tell the truth.
Correct.
Right. Right.
Yes.
Citizen action is not liable.
No, we are not liable, and we, in certain cases, if we know that the information doesn't match, doesn't add up, we could also refuse to do those taxes. We can refer them to another site. We protect their rights, their civil rights. We give them the information where they can go, but that's very minimal.
What else is involved in? Now you've taken the information, they sign off on it. You submit it to whom? The feds, I guess, right?
Yes. So we use the software that the IRS provides us with, and then we transmit them. Then we need to...
All online, I take it.
All online, yes, correct. It's encrypted, so it's secure. And
like the federal government that they've hacked several times, that's all secure, right? No, I'm sure everybody is secure. It's secure. Yeah.
And then we just make sure that all the returns were accepted, that there are not any rejections, because sometimes the rejection could be the mismatch of the Social Security names. Sometimes you just have to double check on that. And it's also important that not just the people who have Social Security numbers can do the taxes. People with ITIN numbers
What does that mean?
The ITIN is an identification number, basically for people who don't have legal status, but they could file taxes. So the government is saying, we know you're here, you know,
Give us
you're
your money.
working,
Right.
you're working, you don't have a Social Security number, but you could apply for an ITIN number with the Social Security Administration. And also there are, Ironbound Community Corporation also prepares the ITIN numbers, files with the ITIN numbers. And we file with the ITIN number, but we don't apply for the ITIN numbers. So we can also do those taxes.
By the way, the Ironbound Community Corporation is a long-standing nonprofit organization down. When you say the Ironbound, for anybody who doesn't know, that's East Newark. That's on the other side of the railroad tracks, so to speak, of Route 21, which is why it's called Ironbound. It was bound by the railroad tracks and all kinds of stuff at the turn of the century. And Joe, gee, I know him so well. What's Joe's? You can't think of it either. Yeah, I know. Before him, it was Victor Luca, who's now the mayor of Maplewood, rather. Has been for many, many years, my friend Vic. So let's go to the video that our esteemed director, Jerry Schoenthal, took of the event of the grand opening this year of the New Jersey Citizen Action Newark's Earned Income Tax Credit site that took place on January 20th. Let's see some of the speakers, the esteemed personalities to which Graciela referred.
There is no need for any person to have who has an income under, I think it's $52,000 or $54,000 to ever pay a tax preparer to do their taxes. They need to come here. We also have a satellite office that has been in Middlesex County and Highland Park that operates. They can schedule appointments to go there. So it's really important for folks to get in and get the dollars that they need. We sign people up here to get health care under the Affordable Care Act. And you're going to be hearing a little more about that later on. And I want to make sure because we are now operating a satellite project out of Montclair. And for some reason, I don't have it on my notes. But Teresa, could you give me? Well, I just want to acknowledge, though, for the Partners for Health. And so for the first time, we are actually going to be traveling and taking our services to the city of Montclair. So besides being open here, we will have locations in Montclair where we will be able to sign folks up. So we're really happy about that.
As you all know, we're actually celebrating this is the 40th year of the EITC, or Earned Income Tax Credit, and we really wanted to be able to reach as many people as we possibly can. And it's because of this events like this one, this wonderful organization, that a lot of folks are actually reached and are able to take advantage of this benefit. I just want to throw a couple of numbers at you. As you know, IRS, we are a numbers-oriented agency, so we have to throw some numbers. But I just want to tell you that for this year, at least, we're expecting refunds of over $2,400 for at least for the families. And again, this is a benefit that folks are entitled to, and for some reason they just don't claim it year after year. So we have to really make sure that we get the word out. Last year, more than 27.5 million taxpayers received almost $66.7 billion in EITC nationally. Here in New Jersey, we had 596,000 returns claiming the EITC. So we're trying to, we did really good, but I know we could do better. Families received over $1.4 billion in the EITC. These numbers from last year. And that's a lot of money. And that's a lot of money added to the state, the economy, but more importantly, it's put into the hands of workers and people that are struggling that really, really need this money. And so that's why we're here. Our message is simple. We want to tell workers that if you earned $54,000 or less, please make sure that you run into centers like the New Jersey Citizen Action and other centers like this to get your refund and to get your entitled credit. Another thing that I want to just put out there for folks, because apparently a lot of people don't know about this, we have the app IRS To Go, where when you do your you fill out your return, you can download the app, whether it's on Android or iPhone, and track your refund, because that's a lot of questions that taxpayers, after they file their return, and they want to know where's their refund. So that's the best way to track it. And through there, you can not only track your refund, but you can find all of the Vita centers there. You just put in your zip code, and you can also make payments through that app. So it's a really, really good app. And like I said, you can download it whether it's on your iPhone or Android.
My name is Drew Curtis with Ironbound Community Corporation. We are a multi-service, community-based organization rooted in and representative of the diverse Newark neighborhood called Ironbound. Founded in 1969 by residents, our mission is to engage and empower individuals, families, and groups to realize their aspirations and together work to create a just, vibrant, and sustainable community. I'm ecstatic to be here today to kick off another year of one of the most, if not the most, impactful programs in the country fighting poverty, the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program, which focuses on the Earned Income Tax Credit. For nearly 15 years, including the past 8 years with our partners at New Jersey Citizen Action, ICC has offered free tax preparation services and kept resources in the community and in the hands of those that need it most. The immense need for this program is shown in the growth in the number of people we served, from serving roughly 400 families and returning $950,000 to the community through refunds and the EITC in 2007 to 1,200 families and nearly $3 million last year. We also strive to go above and beyond this program by offering economic empowerment services, such as financial coaching, to ensure each community member that we serve is able to manage their refund effectively, pay down debt, improve credit, and work towards their goals, such as home ownership or starting a small business. This year, we'll be open Monday through Thursday from 3 to 8 p.m. and Saturdays from 10 to 2 p.m. at Investors Bank, located at 275 Chestnut Street in Newark, which is the 5th year we'll be at that location. We are also the only site in the city of Newark that accepts tax ID numbers, so undocumented community members can also file taxes. I'd like to thank each and every one of our partners in making this program a success, namely New Jersey Citizen Action, the IRS, Investors Bank, Santander Bank, TD Bank, PNC Bank, Wells Fargo Bank, and Bank of America. Lastly, and most importantly, I'd like to thank our Economic Empowerment Program Manager, Marlene Matos, our Site Coordinator, Inez Padilla, and our dedicated tax preparers.
First of all, I want to again commend New Jersey Citizen Action. They have been a stalwart in New Jersey dealing with helping working class families, be it home ownership, taxes, child care, you name an issue, they've been on the forefront. And I am not surprised that New Jersey Citizen Action has now established a home right here in the center of the commercial area of Newark, which will serve as an additional outreach for Newark and area residents. But earned income tax credit, without a doubt, at the federal level, it has always been supported. But for us in the state legislature, it has taken us from 2010 until this year to get restoration of earned income tax credit for working families in New Jersey. We tried very hard 3 years ago to get something called a tax credit for first-time home buyers. It would have provided at the state level an $8,000 credit for someone who was purchasing a home. We knew that not only would it help first-time home purchasers, it would stimulate the entire economy in New Jersey. Because when you buy a house, what do? You go to Home Depot. You go to the local hardware store. You put people to work at all levels. So we want people to make certain that we spread the word this year about earned income tax credit. Let people know that they need to go and seek tax assistance. There are great programs operating, as Phyllis has pointed out, to help you prepare your tax returns. Let people know that people are sometimes floored that they are entitled to the amount of refund that they can get.
No, thank you for the opportunity to speak here today. And Phyllis, thank you for that very kind introduction. I need to take you with me everywhere I go. A lot of them aren't that generous. All right, here's Donald Payne. Okay, go ahead. But thank you so much. You know, it's not hard to do the right thing. It's easy. Trying to conjure up reasons why something can't happen and what the pitfalls are. Well, you know, we can't do this, we can't do that. That takes some creative thinking. But to do the right thing, to fight for working families, to fight for people that might be on the margins, that need a hand, that need to understand what they are entitled to as American citizens, is not hard to fight for. And let me just say that, you know, the rest of the entire New Jersey delegation, it wasn't hard to get them on board. And I want you to know that the Congressional Black Caucus, which is 46 members of the United States House of Representatives who are African American, we're at the forefront of this fight. We led the charge in the Congress. We lobby our fellow Congress people, and we made them understand how important this is. The Congressional Black Caucus is referred to quite a few times as the conscience of the Congress. So anytime there are issues that impact people that need a hand, the Congressional Black Caucus is there. So I'm just proud that we were able to spearhead this movement in the Congress and to get our Republican colleagues to go along. You know, we don't have the votes in the Congress as Democrats to pass anything. So we need people that understand what we're going through and what we need for our communities to go along too.
Well, thank you, Graciela de la Rosa from New Jersey Citizen Action.
Thanks
for
to you.
joining us. It wasn't that bad, was it, after all?
It was great.
Good. She's lying, but that's good. And thank you for joining us on Labor's View. I'm David Weiner, and we hope to see you on future shows.